Okay, so what we need to do here is, again, solve the quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. So again, we need to identify our a, b, and our c. So a is 2, b is -4, c is -3. So from here, after we get this identified, we plug those values in for a, b, and c in the quadratic equation. So we're going to have x equals opposite -4 plus or minus the square root of -4 squared minus 4 times a times c, and I'll divide all that by 2a. Okay, so we have that, and just like we did, we need to simplify. So opposite of -4 is +4, plus or minus. Now again, in the notes, it looked like I just went right from here to this radical. Well, let's do it in our heads right now. We're together. -4 squared is 16. Don't get confused by that. That's a misconception. -4 times -4 is positive 16. So we have 16 minus 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times -3 is -24. So we have 16 minus a -24, which is 16 plus 24, which is 40. The square root of 40, and then we divide that by 4. Depending on what book or what notes or what you're looking at when you do this, where they go from here could be completely different. They could simplify this radical 40, so that's we're gonna have to refer back to Algebra 1 and geometry when you simplified radicals. And doing that, we can break that up into square root of 40 is the same thing as doing the square root of 4 times 10. Well, the square root of 4 is a perfect square, so that can simplify out, and the square root of 4 is 2. So basically that can go to 2 radical 10. And then from there we can simplify further. But for this, for your problems, it's asking you, if it's not a integer, it's asking you to round it to the 2 nearest decimal places. So keeping our answers in radical form are useless. So we can just keep it simple and do like we did before. That's going to go into 2 separate solutions. We're going to have x equals 4 plus the square root of 40 divided by 4. Again, when I type that in my calculator, I'm going to put the numerator in parentheses. And then here, it's going to be x equals 4 minus the square root of 40. Again, that numerator needs to be in parentheses and divided by 4. So let's do that here. 4 plus the square root of 40. I forgot to put it in parentheses, so I had to just go back and do that. And divided by 4 is about 2.58. And here, 4 minus the square root of 40 divided by 4 is about -0.58. So there's our solutions, 2.58 or -0.58. If we solve this by graphing, plugged it in, you would see that your zeros, where it crosses your x-intercepts, are very close to that, just from looking at your graph. If you calculated it, it would be dead on. Now there is one problem we're going to do in class, which is where we're going to solve it using imaginary, or where your solutions are going to be imaginary. For those, you have to keep in radical form, but we'll practice that when we do it in class.